Welcome back to Future Bike Zone. When you first walk up to the 2025 Yamaha VMAX 1700, the immediate sensation is intimidation mixed with admiration. It isn't a motorcycle that politely sits and waits for you to notice it. It commands your attention with a muscular presence that almost feels alive. The wide stance, the massive V4 engine peeking through the bodywork, the sculpted air scoops on each side that look more like jet intakes than motorcycle components, everything about it tells you that this is not a regular cruiser. It's a machine designed to broadcast strength before you even touch the starter button. Owners of past generations often said that the VMAX looks like it's moving fast even when it's parked, and the 2025 continuation keeps that tradition alive with a mixture of sharp lines, dark finishes, and premium metallic accents that catch the light in a dramatic way. When you throw a leg over, the seating position is welcoming but assertive. You're not folded into an aggressive sport bike crouch, and you're not stretched out in a lazy cruiser recline either. Instead, you sit in command, upright with wide bars in your hands and forward-set controls that let you brace yourself when the bike unleashes its torque. The instrument panel lights up in a modern glow, mixing digital precision with a classic touch needle that sweeps across its dial in a theatrical greeting. There's a certain satisfaction in that startup ritual, the sound of fuel pumps priming, the deep hum of the electronics, and then the thunderous ignition as the V4 fires into life. It's a sound unlike anything else, deeper than a Sport 4, sharper than a V-twin, and unmistakably mechanical in a way that excites the senses. The exhaust note deserves its own moment of attention. Yamaha has tuned the 2025 VMAX 1700 to have a deep, guttural roar at idle, but what's most thrilling is how it changes under throttle. Roll it on gently and it responds with a baritone growl, but twist it aggressively and it transforms into a ferocious howl, backed by induction noises from those massive intakes. It isn't just volume, it's character. Each twist of the wrist brings a new layer of sound, a reminder that this is a 197 horsepower brute disguised in cruiser clothing. And when you ride through tunnels or wide boulevards, the sound reverberates like a concert of power, drawing eyes and ears without even trying. Out on the road, the first thing that surprises many riders is just how smooth the throttle connection feels. For a machine with so much output, Yamaha's electronic systems keep it remarkably civil at low speeds. It doesn't buck or surge unpredictably, instead it delivers torque in measured doses unless you demand otherwise. That makes city riding possible, though you'll always be aware of the 310 kilograms you're guiding between cars and over intersections. At low speed you need disciplined clutch control, balance, and foresight because this is not a small commuter bike. It's more like piloting a muscle car on two wheels. But once you find open road, the personality changes instantly. A small twist of throttle catapults you forward, and the sensation is addictive. It isn't just speed, it's the weight of torque pressing against you, the pull of acceleration that seems endless as the touch climbs. When compared to rivals in the muscle cruiser class, the VMAX carves out a very specific identity. Ducati's Diavel is lighter, more European in handling, and comes with an array of high-end electronics. Triumph's Rocket 3 is even bigger in engine size, boasting colossal torque, but its personality leans more toward touring power with some comfort mixed in. Harley's Virad, now discontinued, used to be the American rival in looks and attitude, but it never quite matched the VMAX in outright ferocity. The Yamaha sits in a unique middle ground. It isn't the heaviest, it isn't the most electronically loaded, but it combines raw acceleration with Japanese reliability and distinctive design in a way none of the others quite replicate. The VMAX has always been a cult bike, and the 2025 model keeps it in that league, not the most practical, not the most versatile, but absolutely unforgettable when experienced. Take it on a long stretch of highway and the stability is what reassures you most. That long wheelbase and hefty weight, combined with fat tires, keep the bike planted even when the speedometer climbs past legal limits. Crosswinds have less effect compared to lighter bikes, and the shaft drive ensures consistent delivery with minimal fuss. But that weight is double-edged. When you reach a mountain road or tight roundabout, you'll notice it. Corner entry requires earlier planning, mid-corner line changes need muscle, and exit requires careful throttle because the torque is so abundant that it can unsettle traction if you're ham-fisted. For skilled riders, that challenge is part of the thrill. For casual riders, it can be intimidating. The VMAX doesn't hide its bulk, instead it asks you to master it, to learn its character, and to respect its power. Braking hard from speed is an experience in itself. The big discs and multi-piston calipers bite firmly, but you feel the mass shift forward, suspension compressing, ABS pulsing if you overdo it. It's capable, but it isn't a razor-sharp superbike brake setup. You have to squeeze with authority, not stab. With practice, you learn to balance front and rear to bring it down from speed effectively. For riders who grew up with lighter sport machines, it will feel different. For those familiar with cruisers, it will feel sharper than expected. This middle ground defines much of the VMAX personality, always straddling categories, always a hybrid of cruiser and sport. Living with the VMAX means embracing its quirks. Fuel stops are frequent, especially if you ride with enthusiasm. At roughly 11 km per liter on average, you'll see the fuel light earlier than you'd like, and with only a 15-liter tank, long journeys mean more planning. But the counterpoint is that every kilometer feels packed with adrenaline. Maintenance is straightforward: regular oil changes, shaft drive checks, and tire replacements, though consumables are expensive. The rear tire in particular, with its massive 250 size, wears faster if you use the power liberally. Owners often joke that the rear rubber is consumed almost as quickly as the fuel, but that's the price you pay for harnessing nearly 200 horsepower on a cruiser frame. One of the things that makes the 2025 VMAX 1700 stand out is how it retains old-school charm in an era where motorcycles are becoming more digital, more rider-rated, and sometimes more clinical. Yamaha has resisted the urge to overload it with traction modes, customizable ride maps, or adaptive suspensions. Instead, it keeps things straightforward: ABS for safety, electronic intake and throttle management for smoother delivery, and a solid frame to handle the power. Everything else is raw connection. You and the bike. For purists, that's refreshing. For tech-hungry riders, it might feel under-equipped. But the philosophy is clear: the VMAX is not trying to be everything to everyone. It is trying to be unforgettable in the way it accelerates, in the way it looks, and in the way it feels. Every motorcycle has a soul, a personality that extends beyond the numbers on a spec sheet. The VMAX's soul is one of rebellion. It isn't restrained, it isn't efficient, it isn't subtle. It's a bike that challenges you, dares you, and rewards you when you rise to its demands. In an era of electric motorcycles, of autonomous cars, of increasingly sanitized technology, the VMAX is a reminder of why we ride: to feel, to hear, to be overwhelmed by mechanical force turned into speed. The 2025 Yamaha VMAX 1700 carries that flame forward, honoring its ancestors while showing that muscle cruisers still have a place in the modern world. And so, when you think about whether it's worth it, you have to ask what kind of rider you are. If you want practicality, fuel economy, luggage, passenger comfort, there are better options. If you want the latest electronics, there are alternatives. But if you want a machine that makes your pulse quicken every time you see it, that makes strangers stare every time you start it, and that makes every ride feel like a special event, then the VMAX 1700 offers something very few bikes can match. It's not just transportation. It's an experience. And that's why in 2025, just as in 1985 when the first VMAX debuted, Yamaha's monster still matters.